Imagine this: every out-of-control moment in your entire life has been recorded inside an invisible laboratory. There are no test tubes, no white coats. Only you, arguing, doom-scrolling, staying up too late, drowning in self-blame, the exact same sentence, spoken by someone else. Sometimes you laugh it off, sometimes you explode, the exact same rejection. Sometimes you shrug and say, "It's fine," and sometimes you can't sleep all night. If you stitched those moments together, would you suddenly face a brutal question? What truly determines your destiny doesn't seem to be what happened, but rather, why does the same event sometimes turn you into version A, and other times into version B? Picture these scenes. You're on the subway and someone bumps into you. They don't even look up. One day you're in a good mood, you frown and move on. Another day you're exhausted, and that small impact becomes the final straw. In your head you curse yourself and the whole world. You get publicly called out by a superior in a work group chat. Sometimes you calmly reply, "Received. I'll adjust," and you manage to stay clear inside. Other times it feels like you're being ground into the floor. Apologizing out loud while silently destroying yourself. "I'm useless. I can't do anything right." You send a heartfelt message, and the other person replies with a single Sometimes you understand, maybe they're busy. Other times you start overanalyzing, scrolling through old chats, checking their posts, rehearsing endless versions in your mind. Did I upset them somehow? Same bump. Same criticism. Same cold reply. Why is it that sometimes you simply encounter an event, and other times it feels like you've been sentenced to a fate? Have you noticed that in those moments, you automatically assume it's other people, the situation, or luck that decides which version of you shows up that day? You rarely ask, in those moments, who exactly is the me that's making the decision? We were raised to control events, choose the right major, join the right company, make the right friends, pick the right options. As if life will improve in a straight line as long as the external variables are correct. But more and more often, you crash into a contradiction you can't easily explain. With nearly the same objective conditions, some people grow more and more clear-minded. With similar experiences, some people spiral deeper and deeper into inner friction. If you treat life like a long chain of experimental data, you'll notice something unsettling. The same event, landing on different versions of you, produces completely different destiny curves. So what is really shaping your life? Events themselves, or the you who is observing, interpreting, and reacting? Quantum physics has a line that sounds almost mystical: a particle's behavior isn't determined only by the particle itself, but also by how it's observed and under what measurement conditions. Is it possible you've been living in a quantum-level life all along? Where on the surface it looks like the world is acting on you, but in reality the you who observes, explains, and responds is quietly rewriting the outcome. If one day you realize that what truly determines your destiny has never been external events, but the you holding the camera of attention, would you still live each second the way you do now? That's what we're about to unpack together. When quantum physics meets the mind, you'll see it clearly. You think the world is choosing you, but all along it's been the observer you choosing your destiny. If we put those moments you just recalled under the microscope in this laboratory, you'll notice something that really stings. Before the emotional explosion, what happens first isn't the event, it's the interpretation that flashes through your mind in that instant. Someone bumps into you, and within 1 second you can generate multiple versions of a quantum narrative. 1. He doesn't respect other people at all. 2. Why does this always happen to me? 3. Those interpretations are like beams of light pointing in different directions. They shine on the same event, and your emotion collapses into completely different outcomes. That in psychology, there's an important concept called automatic narrative. It's the voiceover machine in your head that never. Jung would say that people carry a shadow, the part of you that you've pushed down, can't fully see, yet quietly controls your reactions. In this context, the shadow isn't only childhood wounds or repressed desires, it also includes those unexamined interpretation patterns that run automatically. You think you're responding to fact. At the same time, you also wear a mask that in social situations, you put on the mask of, I'm fine, I'm funny, I'm rational. At work, you wear, I'm obedient, I'm reliable. At home, you wear, I'm mature, I won't be a burden. At first, these masks are. The harder you work to maintain the mask, the more afraid you become of admitting what your real self looks like underneath, and that's when self-betrayal appears. Some people in relationships rush to apologize first in every argument, not because they truly believe they're wrong, but because they were trained from childhood. Some people at work always say, no problem, to obviously unreasonable demands, not because they actually have endless energy, but because a voice deep inside is saying, your value isn't who you are, it's how much you can carry. Some people in family relationships never dare to express anger, never dare to say, I don't want to go. They swallow, I actually don't want this, smile and cooperate on the outside, while quietly distancing themselves from everyone on the inside. From a quantum perspective, these patterns all look eerily similar. You originally have many possible selves that could be activated. In that 1 second, you could choose to speak your truth, or choose to keep pleasing. You could pause and see your feelings clearly, or you could explode on autopilot, as usual, but shadow plus mask plus self-betrayal become a pre-written measurement program. Don't think too much. Just react the old way. The most ironic part is that this kind of automation often disguises itself as a virtue. The more you try to be a good person, the more afraid you are of disappointing others, the more easily you hand over your power as the observer. You let other people's facial expressions define who you are today. You let other people's judgments decide whether you deserve love. You let other people's coldness sentence your future possibilities. You think you're controlling the outside world, explaining, pleasing, proving, performing, but at a deeper level, your inner narrative is controlling you. You're no longer the observer you. You've become a particle that can be measured and defined by the world at will. Kierkegaard said the greatest despair isn't losing something, it's never becoming your true self. When you live for too long inside an automatic narrative driven by shadow, you slowly lose the most crucial ability of all, to step forward and say, wait. This time, I want to observe this differently. But the scariest part isn't that these mechanisms exist, it's that while you're completely unaware, they've already been rewriting the direction of your life, little by little. Next, we'll use a story to let you see it with your own eyes. When the observer position stays empty for too long, a person's life can be silently pushed onto a track they never truly chose. Imagine a person. Let's give him a nickname, the automatic responder. From childhood to adulthood, his life seems to have been written into an invisible program. At home, he's the well-behaved child. At school, he's the student who never causes trouble. After he starts working, he becomes the good colleague who never says no. The moment someone frowns slightly, he starts self-reflecting. If someone's tone gets a little sharp, he immediately apologizes, explains, and compensates. Whenever the emotional atmosphere around him shifts even a little, a command instantly appears inside his mind. Calm everything down. Don't let anyone be unhappy. On the surface, his life looks pretty smooth. Co-workers think he's highly cooperative, leaders see him as moldable. Family members say he's worry-free. In his friends' circle, he's always the one taking photos, covering the bill, listening to people cry and vent. If you only look at the outcomes, you might think he's someone the world treats gently, but if you step inside his inner world, you'll see a different picture. Beneath this house that looks brightly lit from the outside, there's a basement that's always ignored. Inside are boxes and boxes of things that are not allowed to exist. The truth of, I'm actually exhausted. Whenever those emotions try to climb upstairs, he quickly shuts the door and says, now isn't the time. Everyone's watching. Slowly, that basement becomes a quantum dark room. Every real version of him is locked inside, living in a kind of superposition. It exists, yet is not acknowledged that it wants to live, yet gets pressed down again and again, and upstairs, he wears a mask, responding to the world in the same way, over and over. For example, in a relationship, when the other person says, "Why are you like this again?" his first reaction isn't, "What did I do?" but, "Right, it must be that I'm not good enough again." So he works overtime to clean up the other person's mess, compromises, yields, lowers his needs, hurt inside, but always saying first, "It's okay, I understand." Then he sacrifices his rest, cancels plans, and pushes every signal of, "I can't take it anymore," back down into the basement. That in his relationship with his parents, he's the obedient, compliant child who takes everything they criticize, invalidate. But the body remembers what the heart wasn't allowed to say. His stomach starts cramping randomly, his shoulders and neck harden like stone. That he wakes up at night, not even sure what he's worried about. From a quantum perspective, it's like his life has been set to a fixed measurement method. No matter what event the outside world throws at him, the machine runs the same command: assume it's your fault. Assume you're not good enough. Over time, he forgets every event that arrives could have activated many possible versions of him, but he only ever allows the self-blaming version to collapse into reality. At first, the consequences are subtle. He begins to notice a strange imbalance in relationships. The more understanding he is, the more others get used to being understood by him. The less he asks for, the more others forget he has needs too. Over time, he becomes the person everyone relies on, but no one truly cares about. Then the body starts sounding the alarm. He feels an unexplained exhaustion. Nothing major happened, yet it feels like he fought a. The scariest part is that his life choices begin to narrow. He doesn't dare change jobs, because he fears the new environment won't accept him. He doesn't dare ask for the life he truly wants, because he thinks he doesn't deserve to be that demanding. He doesn't even dare admit he's unhappy, because that would mean all his effort might have been spent pleasing a world that never truly cared. One day, on the subway, staring at his reflection in the window, a thought suddenly rises: if I keep reacting on autopilot, what kind of person will I become in 10 years? 20 years? That thought is like a cold beam of light shining into the quantum dark room, making him realize for the first time, all these years, he wasn't going with the flow. He was handing the observer's position over to other people's expressions and emotions. Real collapse often doesn't come from one huge argument, one breakup, or one layoff. It comes on an ordinary night, when you suddenly realize, you have no idea who you've been living for your entire life. So does the automatic responder still have a chance to turn things around? Yes. But only if he first does something that sounds dangerous. He must stop being a particle that the world can measure however it wants, and become the person who takes back the power to observe, and that's where we begin next. We're going to talk about the true turning point, when you stop being only the measured you, and learn to become the observer you, your destiny will quietly begin to change lanes. If in the first half of your life you've been living by a rule like, whatever the world throws at me, I react on reflex, then real rebellion isn't picking a fight with everyone. It's doing something that sounds almost cowardly. Pull your hand back from the outside world, and reach toward the observer position you've ignored for so long. The most important courage you may ever have isn't forcing yourself to win one more argument or explain yourself one more time. It's the first time you say to your automatic reaction, inside your own mind, wait. This time, I don't want to be dragged along so quickly. The real comeback isn't whether you can control what people say or how the world treats you. It's whether you can change the way you see the version of you that shows up inside the same event. In quantum physics, a particle isn't locked into one fixed trajectory. It can hold many possible states. What determines which one it becomes is the measurement that I in life. You're not limited to a single, I'm just like this. You always have multiple possible responses available at once: endure, explode, run, laugh it off, speak honestly, refuse gently. The problem has never been what the world does to you. The problem is, when something happens, do you only allow the same version of yourself to collapse into reality, again and again? So the first step isn't to defeat the world. It's to learn how to create a little distance, even if it's only 1 second, so the observer you has a chance to speak. You can start with something that seems small. Next time a sentence stabs you and your emotions are about to surge out, don't rush to strike back. Don't rush to please, explain, or compensate. Press an invisible button inside your mind, even if it's just silently saying, wait. What is actually happening right now? That 1 second pause looks like you did nothing. But in reality, you've already shifted, from being the particle to being the person holding the measuring instrument. You stop only asking, how can they do this? And you add a deeper question, why am I about to use the same old reaction again? You can make this observing even more specific. When emotion rises, instead of saying, I'm furious, or, I'm falling apart, try narrating softly in your head, almost like a voiceover, those words made me feel disrespected. My chest is tight. My mind is automatically searching for the old story, maybe I'm not good enough again. When you can describe it like that, you're no longer someone completely swallowed by emotion, you're someone watching yourself get pulled by a story. The narrative hasn't disappeared, but you've begun to step out of it. You can also practice a kind of quantum perspective writing, small but powerful. Pick a scene where you always either explode or automatically please. Afterward, write it in the third person. In that moment, when he heard those words, the thought, this is all my fault, immediately jumped into his mind, so he chose to apologize again. When you write like this, you'll discover something startling. What you always assumed was just who I am is actually a program being repeatedly activated. You are not the program. You are the one who can rewrite it. Then you can start experimenting with tiny but crucial acts of not automatic. For example, In relationships, you may have a habit of adding a long explanation after every sentence, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of making others uncomfortable. So choose a safe situation and try saying only one sentence: "This is my most honest choice right now." Then stop. You'll feel nervous. You'll feel the urge to fix it, to add 2 more sentences. That's okay, that's the old program struggling. Your task isn't to destroy it. It's to let the observer you stay with that tension and tell yourself, "So I can exist like this, and the world doesn't collapse immediately." Or try a shadow-included experiment. Find a small situation that won't instantly ruin a relationship. In that moment, deliberately express one real thought you'd normally swallow, something not so pleasing, but true. You can even preset a boundary line for yourself: "I don't need everyone to like this version of me, but I want to try not abandoning him anymore." In that moment, you'll feel it clearly: you're not becoming worse. You're giving another version of you, the one locked in the basement, a chance to be measured, to be seen, to be allowed to live in reality. You can even treat your whole life as an ongoing, inner physics experiment. Every night before sleep, don't ask, "Was the world good to me today?" Ask, today, in those key moments, how did I choose which version of me I collapsed into? Maybe most of the time you still chose the old habit, but if even once you paused 1 second longer, observed 1 layer deeper, or spoke 1 sentence on behalf of the self you've been suppressing, then with 1,000th of a second of courage, you changed the starting point of your entire destiny curve. Here is a fated truth: the moment you stop letting only the automatic you appear, and you begin giving the observer you a little voice, your life trajectory has already begun drifting away from the old track that it won't transform overnight. But it's like a bullet whose angle has been adjusted by the tiniest degree. Tens of meters later, it lands in a completely different place. And the beginning of it all is one counterintuitive choice: pause for 1 second. See the you who's about to surge forward. And, even if only for 1,000th of a second, ask, "This time, can I choose a different me?" But the real challenge comes later. Once you start taking back the power to observe, you'll face a bigger question: if destiny is no longer decided by the world, but by the kind of you choose to become, then what ultimate version do you want to choose for yourself? We'll save that for the end, where I'll give you an answer strong enough to make you reconsider your entire life. If I had to twist this entire episode into a single sentence, it's simple and brutal: what determines your destiny has never been the events the world throws at you, but which observer position you choose to stand in each time. How you look at yourself, how you look at the world, how you look at this exact second of you. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Your past automatic reactions, those instant interpretations that flash in within a second, those emotions that rush out before you even think, are the unconscious signing your life on your behalf. When you never ask, who is observing? Who is interpreting, and you only react, you're essentially handing your whole life over to an old automatic program. Kierkegaard said that a person's real task isn't to figure out what the world is, but to decide what kind of self they will be within it. In the language of quantum physics, you are not a particle written into a single fixed trajectory, you contain countless possible states at once. What determines which one you become is the repeated act of measurement. Psychologically, that means, are you willing to grow from someone the world can measure at will into someone who chooses consciously, and dares to take responsibility, as the observer? In the Hermetic tradition there's a line, as within, so without. When your inner way of observing changes, your attitude toward yourself, your interpretation of pain, and your basic assumptions about the world all shift with it. Your external life won't instantly switch scripts, but little by little it will be pulled in a different direction by this new, observer version of you. You're no longer just a flag blown around by the wind, you begin to realize the thing that's truly moving is the flagpole inside your mind. Now imagine returning to those scenes again. On the subway, someone bumps into you and doesn't apologize. The old you would instantly launch the familiar line, "Why am I always treated like this?" and you'd carry a dark mood all day. The new you quietly says inside, "That version of me almost turned this whole thing into a verdict on my worth." You'll still feel annoyed, but annoyance no longer automatically equals, "I don't deserve respect." It becomes simply, "Today I need to take responsibility for my boundaries." In the work group chat, your boss criticizes you publicly. The old you would frantically explain while clenching your teeth inside, "I knew it, I'm not good enough." The new you adds one extra second before replying and observes, "I can take responsibility for this mistake, but I don't have to write off my entire existence as a loss." You can still say, "Received. I'll correct it." But this time you're not begging for mercy, you're cooperating with reality. That message that replies with only appears on your screen again. The old you would scroll through chat history, build entire storylines, and aim every arrow at yourself. The new you looks at that and also looks at your own mind, like a scientist watching familiar code run. "So I'm trying again to use someone else's response to determine whether I'm worth caring about." You might still feel that sour sting, but you know that this time you have an option. You don't have to keep walking down the same script. If this were a film, at this moment the camera would give a long close-up, not to the person who bumped you, not to the boss who blamed you, not to the dismissive but to you, the one who, in these moments, is slowly learning to pause 1 second longer, see one layer deeper, and choose a different response for yourself. You can keep living the way you used to. Inside automatic reactions. Are starting today. Even in one small situation, you can let the observer you step onto the front line once. No one can make that decision for you, but once you do, your life will never fully return to the old, full autopilot road. So now it's your turn. If you'd like, you can write these in the comments, as a record that you've begun your experiment. What is your most typical automatic reaction? Instant apologizing? Instant self-blame? Instant explosion? Is there a moment you still remember, where you know that wasn't the person you truly wanted to be? If starting today you allow yourself, in just one situation, to pause for 1 second, look at yourself once more, and respond as a different version of you, what small thing will you start with? Write it down, not to prove how enlightened you are, but to witness something quiet and enormous. You are slowly shifting from someone measured by the world into someone who chooses the lens through which they see themselves. And the world that I in quantum physics, this is the observer effect that I in your life. It's called, you finally begin to participate in creating your own destiny.